Adam Wharton to Manchester United. Could it happen? We have a pretty significant update from probably the best source possible on this potential deal. Lisandro Martinez, a return date is reportedly set. He's been away for several months, but we now have a pretty good idea of which match we could see him in next. And I'm also going to look at United's strongest 11 with Lisandro Martinez in it, because let's be honest, Leach absolutely features in United's best team. A first-team player is edging closer to an exit, a January transfer definitely on the card, so we're going to talk about that. And finally, he's done it again. But who? Wait and find out. Welcome back to TurkTalksFC. This is your daily Manchester United roundup, where I discuss all the big talking points from the last 24 hours in around 10 minutes. Thank you so much for clicking this. Please subscribe if you're new, like the video, and get involved in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into today's roundup. And first things first, Adam Wharton, probably one of two midfielders most strongly linked with United right now, and that's Adam Wharton and Carlos Baleba. We know United are going into a midfield rebuild next year. We're probably going to sign one, if not two, big money marquee midfielders, because Bruno Fernandes is getting on a bit. Casemiro is probably leaving at the end of the season. And look, Adam Wharton has taken his game to another level since leaving Blackburn Rovers for Crystal Palace in January 2024. United were offered Adam Wharton back then. This is according to Andy Mitten. I found this really interesting. United were offered Adam Wharton at the time, but they thought the optics of signing a mid-table championship player weren't going to be good at the time. This was before Ineos, just before Ineos, where United were more interested in, reputation and shirt sales than actual good signings. He joined Crystal Palace, and this season he's probably been one of the best midfielders in Europe, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League for sure. He's created 5 big chances in the Premier League this season. That's more than any other player. And at Crystal Palace, he's won more possessions in the middle third, and he's completed more take-ons. So listen, he's off the ball, on the ball, he is performing at a ridiculous level, and listen, he's going to be linked with big clubs, he's going to be linked with a big move, and big clubs are going to be interested. And Steve Parish, the Crystal Palace top dog, has spoken out on this. He went on TalkSport yesterday, and he said, I think Adam at some point will want to play either in the Champions League with us, if we can make that happen, or probably with another club. He's an extraordinary talent. Listen, it's simple. What Steve Parish has said there, it goes without saying, really. Adam Wharton, a player of his quality, is 21 now. He's going to want to be playing in the Champions League. And listen, Crystal Palace, they're on their way right now. They're in the Conference League. They should have been in the Europa League, but they should be favourites to win the Conference League. If they're in the Europa League next season, that's another route to the Champions League. But they could finish in the top 5 this season, for all we know. They've had an amazing start to the season, partly thanks to Adam Wharton. They could get Champions League football, so this could all be null and void. But if United sneak into the Champions League, I think that's the only sort of way we could get him. I mean, we said that about Mateus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, didn't we? Champions League clubs want him. Surely we have no chance. So maybe not. But Steve Parish says that Adam Wharton wants Champions League football. And he was actually directly asked about Manchester United, obviously, because Manchester United sells papers. And Steve Parish said, if Manchester United want Adam Wharton, there's nothing really surprising about that. He has got a long contract to run. He's under contract at Crystal Palace until 2029. So they're under no pressure to sell him whatsoever. It's going to be a monumental fee when he does leave, if Crystal Palace don't sustain this level. And Manchester United should be in the picture. Adam Wharton wants Champions League football. United needs to try and give it to him. Lisandro Martinez. Now, we've been without Leacher since February after that ACL injury. He had the successful surgery. He's been recovering since. He could be back in the starting 11 within the next month. Now, United are being extremely careful with Lisandro Martinez's return, given the volume of injuries he's suffered since joining the club. But listen, the injury situation has improved massively under Ruben Amorim. It just got an absolute joke under Erik ten Hag. Players were getting injured every week. But Amorim's training workload, plus the work Ineos have done to revamp the medical department, is definitely working because the injuries have been nowhere near as bad. And hopefully that bodes well for Lisandro Martinez. Now, reports in Argentina claim that he is expected to be medically cleared in early November, which is in a few weeks' time. A previous report from Argentina earlier last week claimed that he had an MRI scan, it came out as perfect, and he'd been training on the grass with a ball. So Sully Talks, the United Insider, adds that Martinez is going to be back in first team training after the international break. That is the current projection from the club. He's in Dubai right now doing some warm weather training, but Leacher is very close to a return, and I think we now know when he could be back. So early November, so he's going to miss the Liverpool game, he's going to miss the Brighton game, early November, so we've got Nottingham Forest away, Tottenham away. I don't think we're going to see him in those games. I think he's going to be training with the team during that period. I don't think we'll be rushing him back, though. I think what Ruben Amorim will want to do is get him back in first team training, late this month, and then have a few weeks of proper first team training, including that November international break after the Tottenham game, 2 more weeks of training, and then that home game against Everton, 24th of November, Monday Night Football at Old Trafford. I think that will be earmarked as the perfect date for Lisandro Martinez to come back onto the pitch. So that's my prediction. Everton at home, Lisandro Martinez, the Butcher, is back. And this is United's best 11, I think, with Lisandro Martinez available. Sen Lomans in goal. Yoro, Matthias de Ligt, Lisandro Martinez. That is a very, very good back three on paper, but also off it, because Lenny Yoro's having a good season. Matthias de Ligt's having a very good season. If Martinez comes back and he's at his best, his tenacity, his passing is going to upgrade this United team tenfold. I'm so confident in that. Ahmad on the right, Patrick Dorgu on the left, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro. I do think that is United's best midfield duo. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo is an option, but again, he is competing with Bruno Fernandes. And as good a talent as Kobbie Mainoo is, Bruno Fernandes is a better player right now. So we have to sort of keep this realistic and say, right, Ruben Amorim isn't going to play Kobbie Mainoo next to Bruno Fernandes. It's either Casemiro or Manuel Ugarte. Bruno and Casemiro for me. Bryan Mbeumo, Mateus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, that lineup it picks itself, right? But United have the depth now as well, right? Mason Mount, as I say, Kobbie Mainoo, Harry Maguire, even Ugarte, if he gets his act together. So United's team isn't looking bad. It really isn't. And I think the results should be a lot better for the team that we have. And hopefully we continue to improve. Because it's not been a bad start. It's not been a disastrous start to the season, but I don't think it's been a good one either, if we're being honest. So, yeah, hopefully we return. Tyrell Malacia. He's on the move now. Obviously, Tyrell Malacia, as you can see there, he is back in first team training. He returned to training earlier this month after that exile in the bomb squad. He was the only member of the bomb squad who didn't get a transfer in the summer because of the whole, his long injury. He came back for United under Amorim right at the start. Didn't really look too up to speed. He went to PSV on loan. Didn't really tear the house down. He won the Dutch league. Didn't really impress though. And now he's back at United and he's not playing. He's not in the squads. He's just training for now. I would be very surprised if we see Tyrell Malacia in any matchday squad until January. And when in January, he's obviously eyeing an exit. According to the Manchester Evening News, Galatasaray are currently leading the race to sign Tyrell Malacia. United obviously deem him as surplus to requirements. We know that. The club wants to add the player, that's his Galatasaray. Galatasaray want to add him in the summer, but Tyrell Malacia wants to leave United in January, obviously, for game time and whatever. So if a small fee is paid by Galatasaray, it could happen in January. And listen, Tyrell Malacia, I don't think he was ever a bad egg. He was never a bad character in the dressing room. He was simply just aligned with players Ruben Amorim didn't like. So that's why he got punished for it unfairly. But yeah, I mean, in terms of quality of football, United can do better, if we're being honest. And finally, Rasmus Hojlund has scored again. Denmark beat Greece 3-1 last night in World Cup qualifying. Patrick Dorgu started on the bench. He came on in the 76th minute. I think. And yeah, Rasmus Hojlund scored again, and it was another sort of poacher's goal that we hardly saw from him last season. The ball trickled through the defence, and he simply sort of helped it on his way. It was a low sort of ball, helped on his way past the goalkeeper. Very nice goal. He scored again, and listen, it's clear to me that Rasmus Hojlund is a confident striker. You know, he needs the environment to be right if he's going to thrive. He didn't have that at United last season. I mean, look at this. Last 4 games, 6 goals, 1 assist. He's on absolute fire. You know, a brace in the Champions League for Napoli, another goal for Napoli in that comeback win against Genoa, 2 goals for and an assist against Belarus. Patrick Dorgu also scored in that game. And then the goal against Greece. There's no stopping him right now. And, you know, you could ask, doesn't every striker need a good environment to thrive? I don't think so. I think the elite strikers can make things happen through all circumstances. And I don't think Rasmus Hojlund is an elite striker, but he's doing really well this season. And it looks almost certain United are going to get that £44 million from Napoli in the summer. So it'll be a win-win for all parties. I'm not one of these fans who's going to come on and go, why did we get rid of him? Well, you know, United are a disgrace, blah, blah, blah. Listen, he wasn't good enough last season. And I don't think United could have projected that he's just going to go to a new environment and just explode. He needs to sustain the form, you know. He's not had a full season of being amazing, but he's doing really well, and I'm happy for him because he's been very respectful. He's treated the club with respect. He obviously supports the club, unlike some players who have left recently. So I'm happy for Rasmus Hojlund, and I hope he continues performing. That is today's roundup. Please make sure you subscribe, like the video, get involved in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on today's stories. And as always, come back tomorrow for another episode. Thank you for watching.